Welcome back to Crash Course. My name is Zoe.
And I'm Marisol. Today we will be going over Anne Frank and her story. Stay tuned because we also have an interview with her later in the video.
So who is Anne Frank?
She was born in Germany in 1929. It's important to talk about what was going on during this time in Germany. Adolf Hitler was gaining popularity, including the group that he created called the Nazis. They were anti-Jewish and were trying to exterminate them. This was the time right before the Holocaust.
Anne Frank's parents, Otto and Edith Frank, strongly feared the situation, so they decided to move to Amsterdam, which is located in the Netherlands. Let's pass it over to Marissa to give us more information.
Hey, so at the time, Amsterdam was one of the places where several Jews fled to in order to hide from Hitler. They had a large Jewish population, and it was like a safe spot for them. Back to you guys.
So, Anne moved here when she was about 4 years old. They moved with her entire family, including Otto and Edith, as well as her older sister Margot.
She lived pretty peacefully, but then in the year of 1940, the Nazis came into the Netherlands. They soon took over and set in a series of rules that restricted the Jews, including Anne and her family. You know what? Let's travel back in time to go have an interview with her.
Look, there she is!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Anne Frank to talk about her personal experiences during this time.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be able to share more of my story.
Okay, so I've heard a lot about the activities you did as a child. Tell us some things that you did to occupy your mind.
Yes, of course. One of my favorite activities, which I honestly would consider a hobby, would be doing so many pranks. Like some days, I would stand on the second floor balcony, and when I saw people coming under me, I would pour a bucket of water on top of their heads. Another thing I do is ice skating, and it's so much fun.
Wow, seems like moving to Amsterdam was great.
Well, I see why you think that, but it's not entirely true. After a few years, it got horrible after the Nazis took over.
Let's send it back to Marissa to explain what was going on during Amsterdam now.
Amsterdam was under full attack. Airports and harbors were on fire. Bombs were being dropped. Once Wilhelmina Queen, the Queen of Netherlands, fled to England, the people of Netherlands lost all telephone service, transportation, food, and there was complete chaos. Escaping in the Netherlands for the Jews was very hard, and very few were able to. Anne's parents had no car, and their grandmother, Oma, was too old to travel. There was no way to escape, but the only choice was to just hide.
Once the Nazis started sending the Jews to concentration camps with intolerable conditions, Otto and Edith decided to come up with a hideout, the secret annex. Near Otto's workplace, there was a building with a secret stairway. Otto and Edith took months of planning by slowly moving their stuff out to their new hideout. This included furniture, bedding, and dishes. They had to be extremely cautious not to get caught. In 1942, Otto and Edith finally told Margot and Anne that they had to leave. The family wore layers of clothes because bringing a suitcase would have been too dangerous. The family had to leave most of their belongings behind, including their beloved cat.
Once the family moved into the secret annex, it was crucial to take all precautions in order to reduce the risk of getting caught by the Nazis. The windows were patched up with curtains. Toilets and faucets were not used from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. because those were the working hours. Trash had to be burned at night to reduce chimney noise, and everyone at the secret annex had to walk barefoot and whisper.
The Franks shared the space with a couple of other people. Their friends, the Van Pels, and their only child, Peter, joined the secret annex, and a man named Fritz Perfer also joined the hiding space. There were a total of 8 people living in this crammed apartment.
Now you may be wondering, how were the Franks able to restock necessities like food? Well, the Franks had 4 links to the outside world that would help them get the food. Miep, Bep, Victor, and Joanne's.
While spending her time hiding, Anne Frank wrote daily and continuously in her diary, which she received on her 13th birthday. In her diary, she personally discussed her everyday life in hiding, opened up about her fears of capture, wrote about her issues in adolescence, and shared her dreams for the future, which showed that Anne hoped to become a writer or a journalist. In her diary, Anne also described her high hopes for freedom when the Allied forces freed France. On July 15, 1944, she said, "I think it will all come right, that this cruelty too will end. In the meantime, I must upload my ideals, for perhaps the time will come out when I shall be able to carry them out."
However, on August 4th, 1944, after a little less than 2 years in hiding, their secret annex was discovered by Gestapo, a secret police of Nazi Germany. The details of how they were caught are still uncertain to this day.
Anne and her family were taken to Westerbork, a transit camp in the Netherlands, to Auschwitz. From there, Margot and Anne were put to separate camps from their parents. The conditions at these camps were terrible. It was overcrowded, poor sanitation, and there was a lack of food. These conditions led to the outbreak of a disease named typhus. Both Anne and Margot died due to typhus in March of 1945. The only person to survive the family was Otto, Anne's father.
The day the secret annex was caught, Miep was able to sneak into the annex and grab Anne's diary. She was able to return the diary to Otto Frank. And in 1947, Otto typed up Anne's diary and sent it to the publishers. Anne's diary became a book, Anne Frank, Diary of a Young Girl.
Well, that's the end of this crash course.
Could you imagine having your diary read by the whole world? Leave your comments down below.
And give us a big like. See you in the next one.
Bye!